Brings us into how self-compassion contributes to self-mastery. Well, for one, we have emotional regulation, because self-compassion provides a healthier way to respond to challenging emotions, reducing the impact of negative experiences, and fostering emotional resilience. Right? Because if we see the world from a new lens, from a perspective of viewing our experience from maybe the perspective of another individual, or the other individual that we may be interacting with or having a conflict with, instead of seeing or looking for how are you attacking me, and you start asking, where are you hurting? It changes everything. Therefore, your emotional regulation is only going to be a side effect of your ability to step into self-compassion. Because when you step into self-compassion, you're now looking for all the ways that I'm going to defend myself. You're looking for all the ways of understanding another so that I can better understand myself. Because if I'm having this experience, if I'm having this interaction, if I'm having this conflict, there is a form of a resonance that is occurring in this experience that I'm currently having that maybe I need to work on myself. So it is only through these experiences that I am given the opportunity to self-reflect on myself, you see. Because sometimes we don't really know what's going on within ourselves until we see it going on within another. But that's only when we have the ability to perceive life from the point of view of attempting to understand rather than attempting to defend, right? Because what is to defend? To defend is to continue an argument. And if I can't see your point of view and you can't see my point of view, then where is the resolution in that? More than likely, no one's happy. But when you think in the point of view where you're asking, how can I bring value here? How can I understand you better? How can I console you so that you can feel better? It is as if you are doing that for yourself, because what you reap you shall sow, whether minimum or extreme. Everything you are emitting is going to be the experience that you will be having. So when you understand that the same way the micro and the macro function as within, so without, you start to navigate your life experience with a whole different structure. It's going to be a complete different system, which is why we need to get these basic fundamental aspects in the cultivation of self-mastery down to those playbooks. Because in order for us to truly be self-mastered, where it is natural and effortless, it is an instinct that is being radiated by the ability to have an open heart that is not blocked by resentment or grudge or bitterness, right? Or fear because you're scared to be hurt again. All these things are just blockages. Your currency is being blocked like a dam that is blocking the current of a river. Therefore, the water isn't flowing and circulating the way it's naturally supposed to. The natural course of that current is not going the way it's supposed to because there is a blockage. And where there is a current being blocked and stopped, there's stagnancy. And when there's stagnancy, there's no moving forward. When there's stagnancy, there's no moving into your goals. When there's stagnancy, there's no movement into happiness or nothing. It's just standing still, collecting the debris that is now cultivating the perfect environment for murky and dirty water. So now you have more extra stuff that shouldn't be there. Anyway, I digress. So going back into how this self-compassion contributes to self-mastery, we already spoken about emotional regulation and the why behind it. The next one we have is improve decision making. By approaching oneself with kindness and understanding, Individuals can make decisions from a place of self-awareness and clarity rather than being clouded by self-judgment, which is similar to the example I just given you metaphorically. As the current is blocked, the clarity of the water doesn't exist because everything is stopping. There's no flow. There's no ebb and flow. Therefore, it's going to be harder to make decisions when your judgment is clouded by the stagnancy of your own energetic source. Therefore, lack of self-awareness and clarity is more probable in a situation where you're not allowing yourself to flow and allow things to be and find and look for the intention to understand and bring value and console and comfort and bring clarity to another. And the next one will be increased resilience, recognizing the shared human experience and embracing imperfections enhances one's ability to bounce back from setbacks, promoting resilience in the face of challenges, right? Because we start to realize that we are all just human having our own experience. Everyone's going through their own phases, stages based on their level of consciousness, based on their level of evolution, based on their necessary lessons to learn from, based on what their soul needed to evolve on a spirit level. So all of these things are playing itself out. But simultaneously, all collectively playing together. Because everything is interconnected as we are all one. So it's divided through the illusion of separation, having individualized experiences. So when we recognize that we are sharing experience and everyone is not a beautiful imperfection of itself, we learn to embrace the process. Therefore, it's easier to gain the resilience because we're not stuck in the emotional states that keeps us stagnant in the pain, in the challenge, and so on. Because we now know to keep moving forward and face our challenges head on, because there's an opportunity to learn something new. There's an opportunity to gain wisdom. There's an opportunity to gain confidence through the experience that is going to allow me to face my fears head on, therefore gaining the mastery that I need over myself. Bringing us into the next one, authentic self-expression. Self-compassion encourages individuals to be authentic and true to themselves, fostering a sense of self-worth and enabling them to express their thoughts and emotions more freely. Now, when we learn to accept that everybody's in their own course, in their own challenge, in their own phase, and everyone has their own set of uniqueness that makes them authentically them, we start to be okay with that within ourselves as well. In fact, when we learn to be okay with that within ourselves first, we learn to embrace that within another much easier, because the authenticity that we see and know within ourselves, we learn to love and we learn to appreciate our uniqueness. And the more we do of that, when we see uniqueness and authenticity in another, it's like we're so happy to experience it. We're so happy to see it radiating out of another, because when a person is radiating out of authenticity, it's a whole different experience. It's a whole different feeling. It looks and it feels so different, because authenticity in itself is one of the highest energy frequencies, because you're not using so much of your energy trying to mask and dim that authentic expression of yourself. So you just learn to embrace it, and then you start to become more of it, therefore attracting more of it in your experience, because that is what you're radiating, that is what you are emitting. Therefore, your projection of your internal world is going to be the result of what you experience externally. So that's also an amazing thing. And last, we have continuous growth. The mindset cultivated through self-compassion supports a lifelong journey of learning, adapting, and growing, contributing to ongoing self-mastery. Because when we're moving forward, we know that every lesson, every experience, every move forward, every step, every stone put it's teaching us something new, as every experience is an opportunity to gain wisdom. And instead of resisting the natural process that allows us to grow and expand our conscious awareness of self, we learn to embrace it and flow with the ebb and flow of it, therefore being one with the continuous growth of the process. Now, what are some methods for achieving self-compassion? The first we have is mindful self-reflection, as we identify any self-critical and negative thoughts, acknowledging them without judgment, right? Because we have to self-reflect. Self-reflection is always going to be the first step, because in order for us to know what we need to change, we need to self-reflect on what is happening. What is my current state? What is my current story? What is my current narrative? What is my internal dialogue? What am I constantly telling myself? What am I telling myself when I observe my experience, when I get something wrong, when something's going wrong? And my instinct or my natural impulsive reaction or behavior would be to judge myself, to criticize myself, to believe that I am not good enough, to believe that I don't have what it takes. I have to first reflect on what is happening so that I can catch those moments, so that when I do catch these moments, these narratives, the internal dialogue, and the story that I'm telling myself, I can go ahead and promote a much healthier mindset by reframing that perception of myself, by introducing the self-compassion that is necessary to do so, by viewing myself like simply a child that is going through the life experience of this world and is learning more of itself through each and every experience, bringing itself back into its true essence of self after going through the course of life that told it to judge itself, to criticize everything, that made it believe that it needs to be perfect to reach a certain element or a level of itself, right? All of these narratives and illusions that were created either from our culture, our upbringing, or even ourselves, right? We need to understand what is it that we need to unlearn before we learn and introduce something new. Because the space that we remove from the old, it's where we're going to reintroduce or introduce a new perception. And through mindful self-reflection, we practice self-compassion by reframing negative thoughts with kind and understanding statements. For example, we place "I can't do anything right" with "I am doing my best, and that's enough." Now, for the next method would be visualization techniques. Close your eyes and visualize yourself as a vulnerable and lovable child. Picture yourself at a time when you needed comfort and understanding. Imagine approaching this inner child with love, care, and acceptance. Comfort your inner child and assure them that you are there for them. Extend the same compassion to your current self, recognizing that you deserve the same kindness and understanding. So sometimes we think that just because we grew in age and we are considered adults at a certain age, even though most people are actually just adults, just children in adult bodies, right? Because they either been stunted in their developmental stages or through trauma or something. But a big majority of individuals actually never grow up past certain ages. So don't assume that because a person is a certain age, they are an adult and they are to be taken serious and they are to have their ish together, right? Because it is not so. You have people that have their ish together at 25 or at 80 or at 50. It really doesn't matter. It's all about your mindset and what is it that you are cultivating within you that is allowing you to experience every experience that you are choosing to experience. Which is why using this visualization technique allows you to be okay with that inner child within you, without judging it, without criticizing it. Just knowing that whether I am experiencing my human experience as a child, as an adult, it doesn't even matter. It is all within the same. It's just different phases of myself, but it is still me in my essence, right? And because I visualize, let's say, my inner child or my child version of self, and I remember the level of innocence that I had, and I remember how I wanted to be nurtured and cared for, and when I was spoken a certain way, how that tone of voice would trigger me to feel not grieved, but it would hurt my feelings, right? Do you remember those times when if your parents spoke to you a certain way as a child, you felt heartbroken, like, why would you talk to me like that? And you just start crying. And you reflect and you realize, wow, how many times have I spoken to myself like that, continuing that very cycle? So as a child, I knew that that's not what I liked. That's not what I needed to really understand what it was that I needed to understand. So why is it that I choose to do that to myself now? Is the question we should be asking. It didn't work then, so why would we do it now? But what would happen if we were understood, comforted for our emotions, and softly spoken to, and said, it's okay, you're learning, you're just learning, I'm here to help you, you didn't do anything wrong, you're just learning. You felt understood, you felt nurtured, and you felt loved. So the criticizing and the judgment would unlikely not be more common if you had that experience. So it is something that, yes, we do learn a lot by the experiences that we had in our upbringing and our developmental stages in life. But it is something that we need to become aware that if it didn't work then, let's not do it now. And if we are consciously aware, we should not repeat the same methods, the same cycle, the same tone of voice, because we saw and experienced how it affected us. So by becoming aware of the wrongs in those experiences, as our parents did the best they could with what they knew, probably repeating the same methods used upon them, we have to go with that awareness of, they did the best they could. I forgive them because that's probably all they know, but I'm going to have compassion for them because I now see where they're coming from, but also compassion with myself, as I won't choose to repeat that cycle even as an adult. Even though I'm an adult, I still have feelings. I still want to experience love and understanding and comfort. So I am not going to neglect that within myself. And when you learn to not neglect that within yourself, you start attracting people that now understand you better, that now won't neglect those needs within you, because we only experience that what we give ourselves. So let's say, for example, you are harsh on yourself, you criticize yourself, you say mean things to yourself. What do you think we're going to attract in a partner? How do you believe they would talk to us if we are experiencing, in fact, the projection of our internal world? Are we going to enjoy that experience? Or is it an experience we're going to think that we want to change because they don't know how to speak to me? But in reality, how can you attract a person that speaks to you better if you don't do that for yourself? You see, it all connects. But we won't go into that in this level, but these are just, like I said, the basics. For our third method, we have compassionate affirmations. Develop a set of compassionate affirmations that you can repeat during challenging methods. Create statements that acknowledge your struggles without judgment and offer words of encouragement. For example, I am worthy of love and understanding, especially in difficult times. Which means, like I mentioned before, the visualization tactic allows us to see and remember what we needed as we were children and wanted to feel nurtured and loved and cared for and accepted. We need to start reframing the way we speak to ourselves in ways that allows our inner world to know, our subconscious, our body, which is all alive, to know that it is supported, that it is worthy of love and understanding, and that we're going to have patience with ourselves, especially during difficult times, because we are experiencing a time that is challenging our emotional regulation, let's say, or our resilience, or our fortitude, or our ability to overcome challenges. So instead of adding more negativity to the fuel, we learn how to neutralize it by speaking to ourselves in the matter that's going to now cultivate and nurture the growth that is needed during these difficult times. So use these affirmations as a tool to reframe negative thoughts and cultivate a more compassionate inner dialogue.